Welcome to the recognition ceremony for the College of Music, honoring Spring 2021 candidates at the University of North Texas.
Good afternoon. I am John W. Richmond, Dean of the College of Music. On behalf of the entire university community, it is my pleasure to welcome you on this wonderful day of celebration. Congratulations. You have succeeded in earning one of the most difficult degrees in the academy at one of the most celebrated and demanding places at which such degrees are conferred. What the world now knows about you is that, number one, you are disciplined. You have forgone so many of life's distractions for an entire lifetime to focus on this magical art of music. Number two, you are more than a musician. You did not earn a diploma at a conservatory. You earned a degree, be it bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, at a Carnegie R1 Research University with a College of Music ranked among the world's finest. Number three, you were respected among your peers. This UNT credential opens doors in every facet of the music profession because, number four, you are prepared, and success comes to the prepared. Well done. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge those who have not only completed their degree, but done so with academic excellence. Undergraduate candidates whose overall grade point averages are from 3.5 through 3.69 graduate cum laude with praise. 39 College of Music students are graduating cum laude today. Those graduates whose GPAs are from 3.7 through 3.89 graduate magna cum laude with high praise. There are 49 students graduating magna cum laude at the ceremony. Those graduates whose GPA are 3.9 through a perfect 4.0 graduate summa cum laude with highest praise. At this ceremony, there are 37 students graduating summa cum laude. Congratulations to all of these students. These designations are among the most coveted in the academy and speak not only to your stellar musicianship, but also to your uncompromising devotion to excellence in all of your studies. Congratulations to you for these superb achievements. The vision of our College of Music is to provide leadership, artistry, and expertise to every facet of the music profession. Each of you are the very embodiment of this worthy and important vision. You are emerging leaders, artists, and experts with so much to offer our diverse musical culture. You are bringing to our world the joy, healing, and unity that few artifacts of the human enterprise do as well as music does. You are arriving just in time, and we are thrilled. So consider these qualities of leadership, artistry, and expertise as you chart your next important steps in this journey, for today is a commencement, a beginning, not a conclusion. We are here to celebrate what comes next for you more than we are celebrating what you've already accomplished, wildly impressive though it is. Finally, remember that while you are graduating today, you are not leaving our College of Music family. You are growing from students to alumni. We are so proud of you and look forward to collaborating with you in the days and years ahead. Congratulations.
Dear students, faculty and staff, parents, friends, and family, it is the hugest honor to virtually offer a few words in recognition of your momentous graduation today. Congratulations on what is an incredible accomplishment, one that I know you'll probably never forget, and one that I hope you feel encouraged and impassioned by. I so wish that we were in person so that we could delight in the view of that Murchison Performing Arts Center with the sea of green caps and gowns, hearing that buzzed sound those gowns make when we walk in them. Despite our separation, I invite you to be present wherever you are having this moment and with whomever you are sharing this moment. Acknowledge what looks different and feels different, while also allowing yourself to find solace in what is familiar and comforting. Despite our circumstances, today we are claiming joy wherever and whenever it is present. This speech is a call to reclaim our spaces as artists. There's so much to acknowledge and address about what we have experienced, especially as of recently. There were joys that gladdened the hearts of many, and there were sorrows that uniquely burdened others. There was abundance in the same places as lack. There was optimism in the same places as fear and doubt. There were so many things that took up so much space that sometimes it felt like there wasn't any room left to just be a human, to just be young, to be in college, free to just be. There are moments in life that are like this, that are arresting, ones that challenge you to your core and force you to ask yourself the right questions. These moments are just that, moments. And although they pass, they often reappear in our lives, taking on a new form to ask ourselves again the same kind of question. I found that these kinds of moments in my life have been an opportunity to find an answer within myself, so that I can then reclaim the space that I once feared or doubted. As you begin whatever comes next after your time here at UNT, I encourage you to have grace with yourself as you start to reclaim your space, not just as an artist, but also as a human being. Seek, find, and acknowledge every single moment of joy that comes with the work that you do as a musician. Acknowledge the presence of joy, not the size of that joy. This is a lesson that we learn and relearn as we start to choose self-knowledge as our true power in life. Deepak Chopra explains that self-knowledge is true power because it is based on the knowledge of self. To recognize the joy that shows up within yourself is to know how it manifests, how it shows up physically on your body. To recognize your joy is to smile with all of your teeth, to laugh the way you normally wouldn't in public, to shriek enthusiastically, to do your little touchdown dance, to call your parents, your friends, and partners who you know will delight in your joy. Take the opportunity to milk every bit of that moment of joy, every bit of that moment of happiness, that moment of clarity, of affirmation, optimism, success, completion, feelings that you're probably having right now. To know what joy and happiness looks like on your body and within your soul is also to know what it looks like when you aren't having these emotions, because you will experience fear and doubt, anxiety, and failure in some ways, and they will never show up the same way every time in your life. None of our emotions really show up on our faces and on our bodies the same way every time they occur. However, while we're on our journey of self-knowledge and discovery, we get closer and closer to knowing and remembering past versions of our emotions and of ourselves. Being able to recognize how our bodies and minds are affected by our thoughts can encourage us to fill space with thoughts, feelings, and actions that help us to overcome what overwhelms us. We remember what joy felt like in our youth and can compare it to the joys that come with age. We can remember what affirmation feels like in our youth and can compare it to the sometimes rarer moments of affirmation in our adulthood. Most importantly, since we can remember what our emotions feel like and look like, we can then infer how to freely give someone else an experience of joy. 6 years ago, I was in a car accident that changed my life forever. After signing away the right for my surgeon to amputate my fingers before surgery, I felt every single dream and aspiration I had leave my soul. I let go of my attachment to the songs I wrote because I knew I'd never be able to play them again. Not in the same way. I mourned the songs I hadn't played in front of others, my songs that I hadn't played in front of others because of my own fears and insecurities. I started to detach myself from myself. I stopped wearing my hair curly because I physically could not manage to upkeep that version of myself anymore. After having a successful first semester of piano lessons at UNT, I had to take a year off in order to allow myself the space to physically heal through physical therapy, to regain the ability to move my fingers and regain my sense of touch, to relearn how to play the piano, to learn how to play the piano with purple prosthetics. And ultimately, I had to hold space for myself in order to grieve these interests and abilities, because they didn't feel like they were mine anymore. I prepared myself for the nonsensical comments and asides, the stares, the shrieks of horror and unbelief, the gawking, the punitive jokes that would bombard me about my injury as I picked myself back up again. This moment in my life was arresting. It asked me the same series of questions each year gained after that accident. Will you play piano again? Will you play guitar again? Will you graduate? Will you perform? Will you pick up lessons again? Will you survive? Those questions still come back 6 years later, and they probably will continue to resurface. However, what's really interesting about all of this is that as I grow, so does the question. But the question doesn't just grow, it matures. Instead of asking, will you? Now the question is, how will you? And later, the question will probably be, who are you doing it for? So here we are a year after the initial shock of this pandemic. Here we are a year after incredible loss, overwhelming loss. And yet here we stand in that loss that hasn't completely left us. Here we are, some of us, 400 years and counting, still trying to speak our piece and protect it too, fight for our rights, to hold space for ourselves and for others, all while merely trying to survive. Here we are acknowledging and recognizing the words and actions that hurt one another, and also recognizing the words and actions that affirm us in our belonging. Here we are acknowledging the good and the bad, two things that make us who we are. Here we are healing in all capacities, yet here we are still grieving. Here we are meeting ourselves again in a new light, with a new shape, new hair, a new breath, a new mental. And here you are. Here you are alive. Here you are, yes, weary, tired, and probably rocked to your innermost core, yet here you are alive and still standing. Friends, since you have made it here, since you have made it to today, to this moment, to this hour, your future is yours to reclaim, and so is the present. Your interests, your curiosities are yours to own again. Your passions are yours to reclaim as being the passion that you pursue in a career, or the passion that you reclaimed as being what brings you the most joy. It is impossible to stand in one kind of emotion, feeling, or being. It is impossible to be representative of only one trait or one characteristic. No one is just one thing. When we show up as ourselves, we stand in our joy and in our pain. When we show up as ourselves, we stand up in our fears and our optimism. We stand in our abundance and we stand in our loss. But when we show up for ourselves, we do all of these things, and we reclaim our spaces as artists, composers, performers, sound techies, theater techies, educators, administrators, therapists, and healers, musicians. As you grow, so does the question. The question doesn't just grow, it matures. The question isn't will you, because you already have, and congratulations on that. Now the question is, how will you do it? And later the question will become, who are you doing it for? Thank you for listening.
Please join me in welcoming Class of 2021 College of Music graduate, Vesnik Abrashi, performing Timepieces, Opus 43, Movement 4, by Robert Mazinski, with doctoral student Hae-Young Choi on piano.
The following candidates have completed the requirements for the Bachelor of Arts in Music. Darren Michael Churn, magna cum laude. Graham J. Day, cum laude. Jack T. Durleth, summa cum laude. Chelsea Hartman. Nicholas Chen Hasapes, magna cum laude. Lillian Christine Holguin, magna cum laude. Joel A. Ibanez. Wong Ryul Jang, cum laude. Caleb Wayne Jones. Chanyung Lee. Loki Vance Lovett, cum laude. Ethan Alejandro Ocañas, cum laude. Luis Alfonso Ramirez. Spencer Andrew Schillinglaw, summa cum laude. Megan Elizabeth Taylor. Elisa M. Wowie. Deirdre Rose Wolfe, magna cum laude. The following candidates have completed the requirements for the Bachelor of Music in Composition. Anuj Bhutani. Dan Drislick, magna cum laude. Victor Isaac Granados, magna cum laude. Yunsuk Jung, summa cum laude. William G. Martin, summa cum laude. Gavin S. Santopetro, cum laude. Cha Ying Shea, summa cum laude. The following candidates have completed the requirements for the Bachelor of Music in Music Education, General, Choral, and Instrumental Music. Emma DeGraff, summa cum laude. Stephanie Herrera, magna cum laude. Amber Danielle Lucky, summa cum laude. Thomas J. Matson, magna cum laude. Erica Vaughn Myers, summa cum laude. Marissa L. Redding, summa cum laude. Lindsay Taylor Teague, cum laude. Hannah Rose Will, magna cum laude. James Martin G. Attilano, summa cum laude. Ariana Elise Ayala. Benjamin Robert Ayers. Jaden Gray Bernal, magna cum laude. Kyle Eugene Bond, magna cum laude. David M. Clark, summa cum laude. Alejandro Cruz. Simeon L. Davis, magna cum laude. Austin J. De La O, cum laude. Isaac Faustino Galvin. Matthew C. Gaona, magna cum laude. Cameron N. Gaskin, magna cum laude. Andrew A. Heuser. Scott N. Jones, magna cum laude. Nathan Villana Koch, magna cum laude. Ashley A. Lindorm, magna cum laude. Dwayne Edward Long II, cum laude. Alexander Ryan Mullins, magna cum laude. Melody Munoz, cum laude. Victoria Renee Olson, summa cum laude. Salma E. Ortiz, cum laude. Adrienne Elizabeth Payton, summa cum laude. Tyler Joseph Primo, cum laude. Amber M. Rock, magna cum laude. Alexandria Brianne Roddy, magna cum laude. Zachary Sanchez, magna cum laude. Adam Self, summa cum laude. Christina Sukis. Nicholas S. Talbot. George W. Theodoroulis, cum laude. Natalie Fabiola Torres, summa cum laude. Michael Vasquez, summa cum laude. Jonathan R. Walker, summa cum laude. Michael L. Williamson. Sebastian Andres Grajeda, magna cum laude. Megan Oshiro, cum laude. Dustin William Woods, cum laude. The following candidates have completed the requirements for the Bachelor of Music in Jazz Studies. Christopher N. Bauer, magna cum laude. Michael Sinceri Baylock, summa cum laude. Nathan Patrick Bion. David Anthony Bredhauer, cum laude. Ethan Remick Brown, cum laude. Ryan Ellis Burks, magna cum laude. Christopher Austin Kane, magna cum laude. Anthony Capetto, cum laude. Dylan J. Castilleja. Andrew B. Kriegbaum. Gabriela A. Date, summa cum laude. Wesley Aaron Diedzik, magna cum laude. Jack Bryant Fetting, magna cum laude. Austin Ford, summa cum laude. Jessica Alice Marie Fuller, cum laude. Thomas S. Gracie. Jungmin Ha, magna cum laude. Grace Han. Sierra Harmon, cum laude. Kyle A. Hassin. Daniel T. Henson, magna cum laude. Jack T. Jones, cum laude. Charles H. Madison, cum laude. Erica Lynn Morgan. Ashton D. Roberts, cum laude. Stephen Schuyler Sellers. Jonathan Shire, cum laude. Luke T. Smith, magna cum laude. Hannah D. Song, cum laude. Aaron L. Stone, magna cum laude. Samantha Nicole Sugru. Adam Anthony Thomas, summa cum laude. Joseph T. Trahan, summa cum laude. Paris V. Varnier, cum laude. Justice Winkler, magna cum laude. Matthew A. Woolsey, cum laude. The following candidates have completed the requirements for the Bachelor of Music in Music Theory. Ariadna Alexandrovna Demkov, magna cum laude. Yunsuk Jung, summa cum laude. Ileana Lizette Martinez. Caitlin Faith Miller, summa cum laude. Adrian Christopher Ramirez, cum laude. The following candidates have completed the requirements for the Bachelor of Music in Performance. Besnik C. Abrashi, summa cum laude. Jonna Bandy. Manuela Barik, magna cum laude. Jacob D. Betts. Brannon R. Bravo, cum laude. William Meta Brookhart, magna cum laude. Andrew Scott Brooks, cum laude. Caroline Susanna Bunce, summa cum laude. Francisco Gabriel Carreon. Daniel N. Chavarria, cum laude. Yi Cheng She, cum laude. Raymond Pingray Chen, cum laude. Jesse Lee Dale, summa cum laude. Gabrielle Angelique Davis, magna cum laude. Graham J. Day, cum laude. Tomas Ibarra Alfredo de la Rosa, magna cum laude. Ariadna Alexandrovna Demkov, magna cum laude. Megan Rihanna Dunn, magna cum laude. Meredith Elaine Gray, magna cum laude. Kirsten S. Gustafson, summa cum laude. Christian Levon Harvey. Trace Glenn Horton, magna cum laude. Camden Ramsey Hunt, magna cum laude. Zachary B. Johnson, cum laude. Nicholas C. Kashka, magna cum laude. William Jesse Keller. Victoria E. Klonick, summa cum laude. Nathan Villena Koch, magna cum laude. Raul E. Marcano, cum laude. Natalie Cherie Merrill, magna cum laude. Caitlin Faith Miller, summa cum laude. Sierra LaCour Morrison. Haley Murdoch, cum laude. Jose H. Negrete. Malia Christie Nelson, cum laude. David J. O'Neill. Adrian Elizabeth Payton, summa cum laude. Quenray Chu. Adrian Christopher Ramirez, cum laude. Robert S. Richter, magna cum laude. Cassandra I. Roach, magna cum laude. Sienna G. Rosenblatt. Faith Ann Elizabeth Santucci, summa cum laude. Tyler McLean Sarver. Rhonda Shakaidev, summa cum laude. Cha Ying Xie, summa cum laude. Tyler Jacob Shropshire, summa cum laude. Matthew James Slemon. Isabella Maria Stefanishin. Gregory Lloyd Stevens, magna cum laude. Adam Anthony Thomas, summa cum laude. Annabelle Irene Torres, magna cum laude. Emily Tsen Shen Wei, cum laude. This concludes the recognition of candidates.
To conclude our ceremony, please join me in thanking our announcer, Jeffrey Snyder. Finally, it goes without saying that many of you would not be here today if it were not for the support of family, friends, faculty, and your fellow students. Graduates, as you continue to move along the corridor of years, remember that your alma mater is a special place at which you are always welcome.
Thank you for joining us to honor our graduates' accomplishments. This concludes the ceremony.